So, like I said earlier, my name is Jason Strauss, and I work for Participate Learning. Participate Learning is an education organization based in North Carolina in the US. And for over 30 years, we've been promoting a passion for global learning and appreciation of other cultures through our teacher cultural exchange program, as well as our global education and dual language programs. This summit is brought to you by the United We Teach community. And this community was created almost 1 year ago. We've got our 1 year anniversary coming up pretty soon here in March. And it was created as a gathering place for teachers from all over the world who are looking to connect with other teachers and were looking for support during the new reality of schools during the global pandemic. In less than 1 year, this community has grown to over 1,000 members who connected with one another via our community discussions forum, as well as our weekly live sessions. The United We Teach Summit is a wonderful opportunity for this community to come together live, to continue to learn from one another, and also to make new connections. And I hope I love attending our weekly United We Teach live sessions, and I encourage you all to come to those as well. We have those every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is open to everyone. So please come on by if you haven't checked those out already. So now that I've given some announcements, I would like to introduce our current presenter, Adriana Rueda Otavaro. It is an absolute honor to present Adriana. I've known her now for, gosh, 3 years, and she has taught with Participate Learning. She is finishing actually her 10th year, because she has come during 2 different sessions. The first time she taught in Virginia as an ESL teacher. This time she's been teaching at New Hanover in New Hanover County at the International School at Gregory, based in Wilmington, North Carolina. And she's been teaching a program called Conexiones. And Conexiones, you'll hear more about it in her presentation, but it is a program for middle school students, students who are heritage speakers or who have graduated from K-5 dual language programs in Spanish. And so you'll hear more about Conexiones during Adriana's presentation. But without further ado, I am so excited to turn the mic over to her, because this project that she has been working on is really impressive. And so really happy that she is here to share with all of you all about this project today. So Adriana, I will pass it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. I don't think I deserve all those flowers, but thank you. They are welcome. So yes, I'm so excited to be here today to share this project that we are doing. And I say we because it takes a lot of effort and a lot of people and a lot of cooperation to complete a project like this. So I hope that you can take something with you after this presentation, and probably you can join us to make this grow, as that's our wish. So as Jason was saying, I am working right now at the International School at Gregory in Wilmington. And since we have been going through very hard times during this pandemic, and we were forced to switch our way of thinking, our way of preparing lessons, our methodology, and we were forced to do like online teaching, face-to-face plus online. Like, we have been doing a lot of different models. So I saw this as an opportunity for me to try new things. And that's why I was thinking about what can I do to make this online learning more engaging for my students, and also continue working with the goals that I have in my curriculum. So this is when this idea came to my mind, and I started thinking about recreating the Model United Nations. And I was working in Colombia so many years ago, and I still have a lot of friends there in that school, and they have this model for so many years. And I was thinking, well, probably that is something that I can do, like modify this to have like an online version of the model. So I started thinking about the idea, and then I was thinking why, like when you're planning something, a lesson or an activity, you always ask yourself, why should I do that? Why is that important? Why is it going to be something important for my students? So before planning this, I went to the roots of the curriculum that I'm teaching. As Jason was mentioning, I'm a Conexiones teacher. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about this program so you can really like understand why this model really fits with our curriculum. So as Jason was saying, Conexiones is a program that is meant for middle school students that have been in an immersion program since K, or students that are native speakers, Spanish native speakers, and can join the program if they have like the skills that are required. Like when I say skills, I mean like reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So the students that I have come from, my school is an K-8 school, and we have the 50-50 model in immersion from K-5. So the students that I have in 6, 7, and 8 are students that have been in immersion for about 6 years. And the goal of the program is actually we have here two goals, but the main one is to create global bilingual citizens. So as you can see here in this slide, we have these objectives. For one side, we have the language development, which includes the improvement of the 4 skills in Spanish. So the idea is for our students to improve the language in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And also for them to improve the knowledge of grammar. But the beauty of this program is that we don't teach grammar per se. It's not grammar by grammar. We have grammar in context. So that is the other side of the program. So we use the topics that we use have to do with global citizenship, and we have the 10 global competencies, and we use the sustainable development goals known as SDGs in order to base our instruction. This is kind of the content that we teach. But on the other side of the coin, we have the language development in mind when we are planning our activities. So when I was thinking why I should do this project, I came back to our objectives, and I say, yes, this project perfectly fits both language development and the global citizen abilities that we want to develop in our students. So here, in order, because you know that you need to evaluate, we use these 5 interpersonal skills to evaluate our students. They take a test in 5th grade and another test in 6th grade that is called the Apple test. And this is based in these 5 communication skills. We have the interpersonal communication skills, the presentation speaking, presentational writing, interpretative listening, and interpretative reading. So when I was looking at these skills, and I think, yes, with this project, really, I can take my students to a higher level, which, you know, the research says that every time that you try to do something like, it's like the input plus 1 is a little bit complicated, harder for the students, they are challenged, and they develop the skills in a better way. So as I was mentioning, part of our curriculum has to do with developing the global competencies in our students. So we have self-awareness, respect for differences, sense of global connection, curiosity, flexibility, effective and appropriate communication, analytical and critical thinking, empathy, understanding of global issues, and intercultural knowledge. So I want you to take a look of this slide, because later in the presentation, I'm going to ask you to tell me, how do you observe those global competencies in action in the project that I'm going to share with you? When we talk about global citizen sometimes people tend to think that it's like knowing a lot of facts about countries. Like, did you know this? Did you know that? But being a global citizen is more than that. It's develop these competencies. So to be a global citizen, you don't really need to go anywhere. You can be a global citizen in your community, and you will see that all of those competencies that you can develop in students without even leaving the classroom, like in the situation that we are right now. They can go anywhere, we can go anywhere. It's hard to travel, but we can still be global citizens thinking about problems that are around the world and how we can really help to solve those problems, even in our own level, in our own communities. That is why another thing that we base our instruction in Conexiones are the sustainable developing goals, the SDGs, and there are 17. So probably all of you, because so in some of the presentations today, these SDGs were mentioned. I just want to give you a little bit of background. So these SDGs were created by United Nations, and they are not new. These ones were created in 2015, but before this, there were another set of goals. So what the UN does is that every time they have like a timeline where they stop and see how these goals are met. If they are, they change the goal. If they're not, they change probably the way that they need to continue working on those goals. So those 17 goals are going to be evaluated by the UN in the 2030. So those are the ones that we are like working with our students in our classes, and they are like understanding global issues through those 17 SDGs. Okay, so now what is the Model UN? The Model UN is, as you can see here in my screen, is an academic simulation of the United Nations, where the students play the role of delegates from different countries. What this means is like when students participate in these kind of models, they are acting as delegates from different countries. Things about the model. They don't get to pick the countries that they are going to represent. They are assigned different countries, and that is really awesome because that develops in those students the empathy, because they need to see global problems from different perspectives. Sometimes they are assigned countries that they don't really like because they don't agree with their policies, but they have to defend the point of view of this problem from that perspective. So that forces the students to really understand the situation, to really do a research about this country and what is the position of that country, depending on the topic that we are discussing. For example, a student can be assigned Colombia, and the topic that we are going to discuss is fracking. It can be a very controversial topic. So the students need to do a research about this topic in that country, and they need to state a position for that problematic. And then when we do the debate, that is the final part of the model, they need to be prepared to get to the point to make the other delegations understand their points, and also be able to answer questions from other delegations. It's nothing prepared, so we don't give them like questions answers, or something that they have to memorize, or something that they have to learn by heart, but it's more like an analytical thinking, because they need to understand, they need to read, they need to research, and they have to be ready and prepared to express those ideas in their own words. So here, as part of the model that we are creating, as I was telling you before, we make a partnership with a school in Colombia. And this school, that is the San Bartolomé La Merced school, they have been doing this project for more than 10 years. So they are experts in this kind of models. And when I was talking to the teachers there, they were really, really nice, and they were really open. Part of the preparation is that we need to prepare my students here at Gregory in the formal part of the debate. So we decided that the students at San Bartolo are going to do a training before the debate to teach my students the parts of the debate and how they have to do the debate. So as you see, this another thing that I love about this project is that students educating students. So we guide as teachers, we guide the process, but everything is in their hands. So this is the students at San Bartolome. They are in a bilingual school, so their second language is English. My students are in an immersion program, so their second language is Spanish. So we decided to do the training in English so my students understand better, like the parts of the debate, what they have to do, which words they have to use, like the formal part. So what the clip that you're going to see right now is part of this first meeting that we have with our students through Zoom, in which students from San Bartolome were teaching my students. Here, you will hear what the model UN means in students' words. So what this model means for them. So you are going to be able to understand this perspective from a student's perspective.
The model of the United Nations are an opportunity to seek solutions to our problems. And as allied and influential nations in our hemisphere, it's our task as young people to start looking for alternatives to the problems we have.
So for me, the models of the United Nations are really like a space created for students in which we have the great opportunity to debate about a specific topic, and we have the role of a character or a country. And it's really fun because we get the part to understand the other's perspective, and it's pretty fun because we're just not debating about what we like. Sometimes we have to take the position of other things we are not really related in our personalities in real lives. So that's the point, and that's the fun part, because sometimes we do have to represent people who are not like really alike to our personalities, and that's like the fun part of it. But for me, I think it has created like a very important experience for me to form a leader inside myself. And it's crazy when you enter to a union model and then you go out of the model 3 days after, and you're literally a different person, and that just grows from your inside, and you become a leader just by making yourself conquer your limits and just kind of trying to improve better and better each day that it passes throughout the model. So I just think the really important part here in the UN models is that you get the opportunity to challenge yourself and to learn about everything, and you get just like the point of view from others, and to try to create a better world based on I don't know, different perspectives. And the point here is that we create a better world with concrete solutions and points and facts. So that's the important part of the UN models, that we can create a solution and try to become better leaders for the future and try to change the world. I know we're just students and we sometimes dream really big because of this, but it's really fun that we get the opportunity to bring out some solutions for the world in the future.
Okay, so as you can see, the students are so passionate about this, and this is what I love. And they are bringing this passion to the debate. And so part of the training that they did was explaining the how this model is done, like the formal part. So here, if you are not familiar with the model, I'm trying to explain like the principal points here. So when students are participating in this kind of debates, they need to follow certain steps. So at the beginning of the first of all, as I was telling you, they have to do a research. So they are doing the reading part. Then they have to write a report, because they need to like have like a summary of the things that they found during their research. So they are doing the writing part of the language component. Then they come here to the debate, where they are going to get to their point. They have to speak. That is the third component of the language. And finally, they need to be able to listen. So that is why this model is so like fits perfectly in our curriculum, because the students, when they are participating in the debate, they need to follow the steps. They have to be like wait for the president of the debate to open the debate, to have a motion to open the session. Everybody has to agree, so they have to follow the procedures, voting to open the session. Then during the debate, they just can talk whenever they want. They need to ask for a point of participation, and they need to wait for the president to recognize that delegation. That is another thing. They don't talk in first person. They always talk about themselves as a delegation. So they don't say, I think, my opinion is. They have to say like the delegation of Colombia thinks that, or the delegation of United States wants to take this point. So they don't talk like personally, they talk in the name of the country that they are representing. So this was the kind of the first part that the students were training, like how to do the debate, how to respond to questions, and how to participate respecting everybody, because that is something really important. They have to listen and they have to participate following the criteria that was given at the beginning. Another part of the training that students did to my students was the use of the language. As you see, this is a higher thinking ability that they are developing, because the language that they are using is not the language that they use with their friends. So they have to use something that is called the parliamentary language, in which they are not allowed to use certain words as a way to respect other delegations and try not to be biased. So for example, instead of saying poverty, they need to refer like a country that has lack of resources. On instead of saying rich countries, they have to say developed countries or developed nations. They don't use the word money, they have to use financial resources. So you see, they are synonyms, but they are using higher words. So that is another component of this model, especially when you are learning a new language, that you need to, probably they already know the word in Spanish, dinero, but they need to find another word to represent, or to get to the point using a better word. So that's something that they are learning as well during the process before the debate. So this takes a little bit of time, like the planning stage. So for this model, what I did, the first part was I communicate with the teacher. But first of all, I talked to my administrators, and my assistant principal was so supportive, because before she was an assistant principal in my school, she was the director of an AB program, and she was familiar with this kind of debate. So she was on board, and she gave me like the green flag to go ahead. So I talked to my colleagues there in Colombia, and they were so supportive. They loved the idea, because they were doing remote learning as well. So they thought it was a really good opportunity for them to continue doing the UN model, and even inviting people from outside with different points of view. So they thought that probably that is an enrichment and opportunity for them. And the plus thing is the language, because we are helping together. So they are helping my students with their Spanish, and my students are helping them with their English. So then the second step was share the proposal with the students. I didn't like advertise this before I have everything ready, because they got super excited, and if something happened and like we can do this, then they are going to feel frustrated. So when I shared this with them, they were so happy, because they really love to meet with like other teens around the world. So they were excited. They were telling me every single day, when is the debate? When is the debate? And I say, no, first of all, you need to be prepared. You need to understand. So they were really like open to the whole process. So they were really open to receive the training. They participate. They were active during those sessions, and they really, really love the idea. And the final part was coordinating the dates. Probably, I think it was the easiest part, since we were doing remote teaching at that time. It was in December, like November, December. So finding the times was easier, because we don't really need to go anywhere. Like everything was either like if students were at home, they can connect through the Zoom, and I have some students that are face-to-face, so they can do the same here in the classroom. So probably that was the easiest part to find the dates for our meetings. So here's kind of the timeline that we did for our project. So the first meeting that we had was December 10, and that is the training that we have the welcoming, the introduction to the model UN. So students were teaching each other about the model. They were getting to know each other as well. We did some like icebreaker activities where they were like asking which is your favorite ice cream, you know, like just for them to get to know each other before they start like interacting in the debate. So during this day, we decided like, yes, we're gonna do it. They were clear about what the debate was about. And we have like a couple of weeks to prepare the debate. So on December the 17th, we had our first debate. And that is another thing for this kind of activities, that we try to be as real as possible. So in the debates that they do in the UN, they have some commissions, and every commission is like a group, and they have a special task in which they have to discuss the topics, discuss the issues, come up with solutions. So because we were in the middle of the pandemic, we decided that one topic that we really like opened their minds for a good discussion was the pandemic. So we were thinking about, why don't we do something in that the students have to come up with ideas and solutions post-pandemic, and especially those ideas and solutions for Latin America. So we decided to do the ECLAC, that is a commission in the UN that is concentrated in discussing everything that has to do with Latin American and Caribbean countries. So we did the debate, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the debate in a second, but I want to finish here with a timeline. So the next meeting, because you know, one of the things about this is help students to develop global citizenship, but also develop the 4 skills. So the first two sessions were in English, and the next 2 sections in Spanish. So we plan one for February 18th, but since things are changing every single day, one of the things that this project has taught me is that we have to be so flexible. So we have to change this meeting for the 25th. So actually we did it last Thursday, and this meeting was in Spanish, and that was kind of refreshing the training again. So students again did the training, but this time in Spanish to clarify certain points. So they already had the experience that the debate that we did in December. So my students had a lot of questions about what happened during the debate. So they're clarifying, like if they were doing the right thing when they were asking for motions, if the points were clear, if they were really following the protocol. So it was a really, really nice session. Like actually the students from San Bartolome prepare a Kahoot, and that they close the session with a Kahoot, like they oversee what the questions probably were. And it was amazing because my students really were able to understand all the points that are important in this kind of debates. And we are going to do our formal debate. We planned this one for the 25th, but because we have to move the session, we are going to do this probably March. I say probably because, you know, things can change. But at this point, we have this plan for March 11th. And the topic, we were thinking, like, because my students during Conexiones, we are in a unit that we are studying a lot of things about global warming, pollution, like environmental problems. So we are thinking that the debate has to go in that direction. And the reason is because my students are like building the vocabulary that they need, building the knowledge, because they have been doing a little bit of research about those global topics, but they haven't been assigned a country yet. So they have a general overview of the topic, and the idea is that we are going to vote on the specific topic, because we want the students to be part on the decisions as well. So here, I'm going to show you a little bit of what happened in the first debate. And I love this quote here because it says, more we, less me. That is a perfect summary about what Conexiones program is and how this model is really about. It's like thinking about the world and thinking about how I can contribute to the solutions. So you will see how passionate the students are here. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of the debate. It was like an hour long. I just have little clips of what happened during our first debate. And remember, the topic that we were discussing was solutions post-pandemic for Latin American countries.
Okay, so welcome delegates to the simulation of a model of United Nations in this committee of CEPAL. So delegates, the chair is open to motions. The chair considers a motion to open session.
Share a motion to open the session.
Yes, delegate, this motion is in order. All delegates who second this motion. All delegates have to raise their hand because all delegates has to second this motion. Thank you. All those in favor? All those against? If you are against, please raise your hand. This motion clearly passes. Delegate, the chair is open to motions. It passes. Delegate of Venezuela, you are recognized.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Okay, dear delegates and dear Chair, we are in this meeting, in this committee, to talk about the post-pandemic scenario. And to talk about this topic, we have to be faster and precise on which one of the vaccines we have to take. And I will recommend the vaccine that is called the Sputnik vaccine made by the Russian government and by the Russian people.
Delegate of the Russian Federation, you recognized.
Thanks, Ms. President. The great nation of Russia has contributed in the best way to the world. Russia has been the pioneer of the development of a vaccine, an effective and a safe vaccine, while other developed nations are concentrating on their Christmas shopping or distracting their citizens from the warring situation. Russia has already formally started a quick vaccination for all its citizens. Now,
The chair is going to proceed to call another delegation. So, delegation of the United States, you recognized.
Thanks, Chair. So, how Russia delegation is going to distribute the famous vaccine that they are promoting, and also it's the vaccine secure for humans. Thanks. Please. Thanks.
Floor delegate of Peru, you recognized.
Thank you, Chair. So, the Peruvian Minister of Health, Pilar Macetti, prepares her compatriots for a time that is hard for the Peruvian people. So, this is a situation that will remain this way. But Peru is almost in the final stage of the pandemic. And this stage will only end when we have a vaccine. So we please are asking Russia and United States that please give us a vaccine that will guarantee a better recovery.
Here you proceed with your intervention.
Um, Quito, Ecuador was the first Latin American country to be hit by COVID-19 with 13,875 deceased. The COVID-19 pandemic from March to May 2020 registered losses in Ecuador of 6.42 billion in financial resources. On the 21st of August, confirmed positive cases were reported in all 24 provinces, Quito being the hardest hit area.
Delegate of Costa Rica, you are recognized.
Thank you, President. The delegation of Costa Rica has tested for a total of 150,000 COVID positive cases, with 125,000 of them already fully recovered, but we have had more than 2,500 deaths. Because of this huge risk of infection, there have been mass layoffs, creating an unemployment rate of nearly 35%. We, the delegation of Costa Rica, are considering requesting financial aid from the rest of South America, so more vaccines will be produced, and because of this, we will be able to reopen our businesses and hopefully have our economy recover as well.
To make use of the word delegate of Mexico, you are recognized.
All right. The delegation of Mexico has had a rough time during the coronavirus. About 20% of our citizens have lost their job and filed for unemployment. So the delegation of Mexico would like to humbly ask bigger delegations who have more resources to provide financial aid for us. Thank you.
Delegate of England, you are recognized.
Thank you. The delegation of the United Kingdom has done fairly well during the pandemic. The UK went into lockdown a couple months into the pandemic and did fairly well, but cases started going back on the rise around the time that they developed the vaccine. So the vaccine is very inaccessible, and it's only accessible to those who are healthcare workers or have like high priority jobs. The UK would like a more accessible vaccine so that we could distribute more financial aid and other resources to Latin America using our ports. Since we are in the middle of Europe, we can access parts of Africa with the Suez Canal, and we can also access Asia. So we are asking for a more accessible vaccine so we can distribute more resources to Latin America. Thank you, Chair.
Lord Delegate of Canada, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. The delegation of Canada has faced over 400,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19, and more than half had fully recovered. The economy, just like every other nation, has been affected by COVID, and it's been struggling. People in Canada aren't making as many big purchases as they used to since the money available is tight. A lot of parts of these big items are manufactured in Latin America, so it's hurting their economies as well. Getting the vaccine out and having as many people vaccinated will help lift lockdowns like in places like Toronto as soon as possible, and it will help the economy return back to a healthy state. Thank you.
Okay, so as you can see, the students here were using the parliamentary language, but one thing that caught my attention, and I'm so impressed, is that if you remember, the day that we did this debate was in December. So actually the vaccines were kind of up in the air. So nothing has been decided at that time with the vaccines. And in the whole debate, you see like some delegations like from other countries, they were like taking the points about being able to get the vaccine without like the problems that we are seeing right now. They were predicting those problems. Like there is corruption in the distribution of the vaccine, and that was discussed in this debate. So I'm impressed of the way that students are really anticipating problems and giving solutions. So I think this is what most impresses me about these kind of debates, when students are given the opportunity to think bigger and to research bigger. So they can really support their points, and they can really state facts instead of just an opinion by itself. So here's how we like kind of the way that we divided for the students for the first debate. Those were the assigned countries. So we were trying to have like countries from Latin America, but also countries that consider like developed countries, to see their point of view. So you see, for example, the delegation of England was saying that probably they can help because they can have better ways to distribute the vaccine to other parts of, even they mentioned Africa. Even Africa wasn't part of the debate, but is how big the students are thinking during this kind of activities. And here, like as part of the preparation, like this what you're going to see right now is an experience that I did a few years ago. Like I had always that idea but I really start thinking about this one during the pandemic. But I did an example with my students like a year and a half ago before the pandemic. And in this case, it's a replication of the model inside the class. So that is something that we are planning to do as a way of prepare our students to do one debate before they do the debate with other schools around the world or schools around North Carolina. We are preparing our students inside our classrooms. So these students, particularly, we were in our unit in Conexiones, we were talking about the free trade agreements around the world, and they were discussing the benefits or the negative points of those. So after they did their research, they were assigned again a country, and because it was inside our classrooms and they didn't have a lot of experience on the debate, they vote. All of them, they wanted to be the president of the debate. So they voted and they selected Eve, that is the girl that you're going to see, that is the chair. And this debate is in Spanish. So probably if you are not a Spanish speaker, this is a good opportunity for you to practice a little bit your listening skills. So you're going to see a debate that was done inside the classroom previous COVID, as a way to prepare the students for this kind of debates.
Caucas en sesión. Nosotros estamos aquí para discutir la pertenencia de los DLCs en el mundo. El debate de hoy va a revisar si se deben seguir usando o no. Voy a llamar a su país y por favor dice presente y votando. México, presente y votando. Honduras, presente y votando. A continuación vamos a establecer las reglas. En este debate, si quieren votar, por favor levante su tarjeta. México, ¿a favor o en contra? A favor. Bueno, pueden empezar su discurso. El GDP de México ha subido de 8.56% en 1993.
La delegación honorable de la República de Canadá está en contra de los tratados de libre comercio. La República de Canadá está relacionada con algunos tratados de libre comercio y la parte industrial del país gana dinero por eso. Pero realmente no es bueno para Canadá y la delegación está en contra de los tratados. A continuación expondremos algunas razones. Primero, no es conveniente para la República de Canadá y su economía cuando los negocios se reubican en México y las condiciones de los empleados son horribles. Hay químicos tóxicos en las fábricas y queremos los negocios y las personas de Canadá en Canadá. En el otro mano, los TLCs crearon una manera más fácil para el movimiento de negocios largos hasta nuestro país y por eso no queremos. El componente cultural en Canadá se perdería en muchos lugares porque las fábricas industriales están moviendo hasta áreas locales y pequeños y los ciudadanos no les gustan. Y también hay polución en esas fábricas y polución no es bueno en México, en Canadá o en cualquier lugar en el mundo y no queremos. En general, la República no quiere los tratados de libre comercio porque los hechos de que es destructiva para la economía, los recursos naturales, las culturas nativas y el medio ambiente. Gracias.
En los años 1993, 1998 y 2006, la delegación de los Estados Unidos empezó 3 tratados de libre comercio: NAFTA, CAFTA y FTA. La delegación de los
Okay, so I just want to give you a little bit of our previous experience, and you see how students are so comfortable discussing these kind of topics, providing solutions, and you see here how our learning objectives are met. So you will see here how they were using the 4 skills, they were using proper grammar, but at the same time they were like using global citizen skills. And so now I want to ask you here coming back to one of the first slides, if you observe any of these competencies during this activity, like were you able to witness anything that has to do with these global competencies? I don't know if you can do this through the chat, and Jason can help me because I don't have access to the chat right now, or somebody wants to like participate.
Yeah, so I can read out some of the responses you're getting here. Sense of global connection, analytical thinking, effective and appropriate communication, intercultural knowledge. Someone says, I see all of them. This is awesome. Respect for differences, empathy and understanding the situations in each country. Another person saying this is pretty much all of them. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, and what about the SDGs? Did you were able to see any of those SDGs in this? Like those are little two samples of the debate because it was like an hour long. But just a little bit of what you see here. Did you observe any of the SDGs like being discussed? Students being aware of those SDGs?
Absolutely. So we have number 17, partnerships for the goals. Absolutely. Number 8, decent work and economic growth, for sure. Number 3, good health and well-being. That was a really big topic. 10, 3, 9, 17. We've got number 12, number 5. Many of them were represented here. This is phenomenal.
Yeah, like when we were discussing this with our colleagues in Conexiones, and one of the teachers says that even the gender equality, because the chair was a woman. So he says that's gender equality, you know, like even women are having the same role as men. So yeah, that's why I really love this kind of projects. Okay, and finally, so as I was mentioning, we are trying to implement this model. You know that I'm teaching here in North Carolina, and Conexiones is a program that is in a lot of schools here in North Carolina. So the picture that you see here is a meeting that we have with some of the teachers in Conexiones in other middle schools, and we are in the stage of planning like another event. The idea is to have students to participate in a UN model in a state level, having representatives from schools that are having Conexiones as part of their curriculum. And we are in the planning stage, and we are like, I think by April, we are going to do one debate based on the planning that we are doing right now. So I think that's everything from my part. Thank you very much for attending, taking time in a beautiful Saturday to join us, and as I said, learn and grow together. Thank you very much. I don't know if there are more questions or we have time for that.
Absolutely. Well, just a round of applause for Adriana. This is so phenomenal, Adriana. So many people have been singing your praises in the chat. Some people are asking more about Conexiones. And if you're interested more in this program, I'm going to leave here in the chat a link that you can click on to learn more about the Conexiones program. I'll also just echo some of the awesome quotes that you guys have been leaving in here. Maria says, student-centered learning provokes student-led discussions. Congrats, Adri. Yvonne says, this is awesome, amplifying students' voices and allowing them to take ownership of their learning. And Tatiana says, so young and academic, these are the global citizens of the present and the future. We had a couple questions. We're running a little bit low on time. So Adriana, if you could answer them pretty briefly, but we have one question from Hema who says, can I have the lesson plans for each part of the project for the beginning to the end to try first inside my classroom?
Yeah, sure. I can share those in our community. Like we have a community that we can post the lesson plans. Actually, we have like the draft for the one that we are doing for Conexiones here in North Carolina. We have like a kind of the steps that we are doing, and we can share, definitely we can share that, right, Jason?
Absolutely. And so I'm actually leaving a link here to the discussion thread of the United We Teach community. And I will make sure, Adriana, I'll make sure that you have that link too. And maybe we can share the lesson plans that we have, some of the lesson plans that we have for this project in there. So check that out after this when you can. And then the last question, Adriana, is from Cynthia. She asked, did you provide a vocabulary word bank to participants prior to the debate? How hard was it for learners to use tier 2, 3 vocabulary words?
Well, that's why we are carefully selecting the topic that we are going to debate about. And instead of giving like us like words, they are doing the research on their own based on the topic. So it's more like they are building. It's like learning by doing. As I said before, in these models, nothing is like memorized, nothing is like preparing set in terms of those are the questions that you're going to get, or those are the answers that you have to give. But it's more like they are going to be able to use synonyms if they don't really know the word that they need to come up, or give the explanation of the word. So it's not memorizing anything, it's knowing the content. So as I mentioned, for the next debate, we have been doing like a month or so on research on climate change, pollution, and global warming. So they are getting like a lot of content and vocabulary through the research and activities we are doing prior to the debate.
That's awesome. So that pretty much wraps up our presentation, but it doesn't wrap up the discussion about this. So please, like I said, I left the link there for you all to join the United We Teach community. There you can navigate to the discussion threads page, and continue with this discussion. Adriana and I will make sure that some resources around this project are posted there shortly after this session. Also, if you would like to receive a badge for attending this session, and maybe you've attended other sessions today, I'm going to leave a link here for you all to get that badge to show your CEUs for this for attending this session. Big shout out to Adriana. Very well done. This was really great to see you share this wonderful project. This was all Adriana's doing. I'm just so thankful that Adriana is in our Conexiones community. Definitely reach out to her if you're interested, and connect with her through the United We Teach chat. So thank you all so much for attending this session, and I hope to see you in our next one with Yanela. So see you soon.
Thank you.